If there's anything that will make you fall in love with the game of rugby, other than the game itself, if there's anything at all outside the field of play that will make you fall in love with rugby, it has to be the isiXhosa commentary. You know, those commentators bring so much life to the game, and you just can't help it but fall in love. They narrate it so beautifully, and it helps when your team is winning as well, and it helps when your team is winning World Cups as well. I mean, how can you say no to this? How do you even begin to say no to this? You just have to love this kind of commentary, man. I mean, the energy and the passion that these rugby commentators bring during major games especially will make you fall in love with the game of rugby. On that note, we'd like to congratulate the South African national rugby team, the Springboks, on representing the country with distinction out in Japan, winning the Webb Ellis Trophy, the Rugby World Cup, for a record third time, becoming the first team and the only team to win it in 3 different continents. What a beautiful story, man. What a beautiful story. This is Off Air, the podcast series. Thank you so much for making time to listen to it. My name is Tobegani, and today I bring to you episode number 8. This is the audio show that you get to listen to whenever, wherever, and however. It's up to you. If you want to listen to it on the road, you can do that. If you want to listen to it at the comfort of your couch or your bed, you are also more than welcome to do so. You want to listen to it at night, during the day, it doesn't matter. You can have it your way. Hey, I've been under attack recently for not delivering on time, and people are saying I'm making it a habit of promising and not being able to deliver. Well, the truth of the matter is I took some study leave and to go and deal with my examinations. I've been harassed by examinations to a point where I just couldn't. I've never been molested by exams the way I've been molested by exams recently. And I know some of you are also going through the same things as well. It's just the exam season taking place right now. And but thank you for your patience. We are here now delivering episode 8 of the Off Air podcast series. Hey, a lot has happened. In the past couple of weeks, plenty of things happened. You know, one cannot even keep count of what has been happening, from politics to sports to entertainment. It's just been news galore. A lot has happened, just the other week, it was the Democratic Alliance going through, I don't know what to call that. You know, there was just an exodus of leaders leaving the DA. Herman Mashaba leaving his mayorship in Johannesburg. He's serving his notice for now until I think the end of November, where he will be exiting as mayor of Joburg. And then Musi Maimane, Athol Trollip, and I think some other people as well, leaving their positions in the Democratic Alliance. So at the time, it looked like as if the DA was falling apart, although they won't admit, of course. But that actually happened. And you know what? Some time ago, Msholozi told Maimane that, Manna, these people are going to remove you.
Mr. Maiman, I can tell you they will take you out of that leadership of yours, of the DA.
Of course, he was not removed. He stepped down on his own. But, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what has been happening to get to a point where he stepped down. I got concerned about the DA, to be honest, because, you know, for our democracy to function properly, you need a very strong opposition or oppositions. And once the opposition is not doing well, also our democracy takes a knock as well. So we need stronger oppositions for our democracy to function. Another thing that got me worried about the Democratic Alliance is that you see, when Musi was elected into leadership, one would have thought that the DA seems to be doing very well in grooming leaders, because he's still a young chap, and he has a future in politics, and we thought clearly the DA was doing something right to a point where they're able to trust their young ones to lead the party at the very top. But now you find the likes of Helen Zille coming back into the political arena. That gets you worried, because this is a person who you would have thought they've retired from politics, but here she makes a comeback. And I also have a reason to believe that Tony Leon will also come back in major politics. Just watch the space. In fact, he's already contributing, because part of the fall of Maimane was actually incited by Tony Leon and a group of people who released some report about Maimane's leadership. Anyway, I don't want to go too much into politics. That's not what we do this show for. Ours is to focus mostly on what happens on social media. But of course, what happens on social media is also influenced by what the current affairs look like. While we were still settling down and dealing with the issue of the DA, then comes a woman who claims to have had sexual relationships with both the Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, and the Minister of Mineral Resources, Gwede Mantashe, Uncle Gwizi. You're fed. I'm sure you remember, there was an episode where I told you African politics it's entertainment. There's entertainment galore in African politics. Sometimes when you're bored, just follow African politics and you'll be fine. So this woman comes out and say, yeah, no, she's had sexual relationships with both Tito and Gwede. Apparently Tito is the type that switches off the light. Array, was camponella, switch off the light. Tito Mboweni. And then Gwede Mantashe is a tiger. This is what this woman is saying. Gwede Mantashe is a tiger in bed. You have a fit. No. You swear someone is somewhere sitting somewhere writing scripts about what is to unfold in the political arena in South Africa. Hey, these stories. You look at Gwede and you look at a picture of a tiger and you're trying to match the two. Hey, anyway, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. If this is anything to go by, if there's truth into what this woman is claiming, then it clearly confirms the phrase that says, do not judge a book by its cover. I mean, you look at Gwede with his mkaba there and you think, about 1 round. Apparently he can go for 6. Tiger. Uncle Gwizi. No. You are representing.
Also going to deal with the tigers. So that is the commitment we're making.
Now on to a rather serious matter. I'm sure you've seen on various media reports that the Senzo Meyiwa case is trending once again after the family approached AfriForum for assistance because there's just no progress in the case. Clearly the family has lost hope and trust of the public system. Our criminal justice system has failed to arrest, and obviously without arrest there will be no prosecution. I mean, who are you going to prosecute? It's all said that 5 years down the line the state has failed to arrest the perpetrators. I would have understood if people broke into Senzo's house and found him alone and shot him there, and I could understand that. But this is an incident that took place in full view of other people, and yet there is no arrest 5 years down the line on a high profile case such as this one. This is a pure demonstration of what I told you, I think, in episode 4, that this country has a serious challenge of leadership. There is a serious challenge of leadership. There is a lack of leadership in most of the departments in our government. We shouldn't be where we are right now. There are reports now that apparently the docket is missing. Begicele at some point said, yeah, it's unclear where the docket is, and then later retracted the police ministry retracted the statement saying no, those are false claims that the docket is missing. We don't know what is happening. We don't know whether the docket is there or is not there of such a high profile case. No, we should be embarrassed. We should be it's embarrassing. We should be ashamed. We should be ashamed. And I said to myself a while ago, I will never take AfriForum serious until such time that they take on a case of one white person against another white person, or of one black person another black person. And they've been very strategic. They've taken cases of black people against each other, but that is where they usually score political points. Like when they represented the family of the victim of the Duduzane Zuma car accident. Obviously we know why they did that. At the time they were against the former president Jacob Zuma. So I mean, attacking someone who's close to the former president would make sense at the time. And now they've been given the platform to represent the Meyiwa family. I'd like to see how this pans out. In fact, what I'd like to see is how the AfriForum private prosecution wing would operate if given a chance. Because remember, apparently AfriForum has this private prosecution wing where if the state fails to prosecute, they can give a certificate to a private institution to prosecute. I would love to see, not necessarily in this case, but I'd just love to see how they deal, how this private prosecution thing operates. But most importantly, we would like to see the Meyiwa family get justice for the loss of their son, and we hope that in the very near future there will be closure in this case. Well, before we go and evaluate is PTPT on today's episode, I would just like to drop an advice for those of you who are still looking for your soulmates. I think chances are your soulmate is somewhere in your inboxes or your direct messages. Go through your inboxes and reply. Your people are in there. Your potentials are actually in there. They could be in there. I'm sure you saw a story. I'm not sure how true this is, but there are some screenshots making rounds on Facebook of this lady who claims that Magazole Mampimpi, the man who scored the very first try in the history of South Africa's rugby finals, actually inboxed this lady and she ignored until this year. Messages from 4 years ago. Go through your inboxes and respond. You don't know what's in there. I've seen some happy endings, I've seen some happy endings on Facebook where people say started from the inbox, now we are here. Just give them a try. I know that those who take chances, I'm sure you can see now when someone is taking a chance. So just go through them and respond. We might find something in there. That's our advice for today on Umjolo.
As soon as there is a pity, then you evaluate. Evaluate is pity.
Well, on today's evaluation of is pity, I want to talk about something that has been close to my heart for quite some time, and it has been brought back into my attention because of what has happened with our rugby team. I feel that, you know, the words of Nelson Mandela when he said sports has the power to unite people can only be true if that sport is actually accessible to everyone. That's how you unite people. If there is something that is going to unite people, that thing has to be accessible to everyone. And right now, the truth of the matter is rugby as a sporting code is not accessible to the people. It's only accessible to a certain group of people who have money, who can afford to pay DSTV premium, then they can watch rugby games. Rugby is isolated, it's packaged and put aside to be served to a certain group of people, not to all of us, honestly. I speak as an employed individual when I say DSTV premium is expensive. Imagine those who are unemployed. So this sport is actually reserved for people who are employed and make enough money to pay DSTV premium. Because remember, for you to be able to watch a game of rugby, you have to have DSTV premium. You have to be a DSTV premium subscriber. So how can such a sport be regarded as a sport that can unite people if it's only accessible to those with money? Clearly, it's not meant for all of us. And I think that DSTV, well, let me say MultiChoice together with SARU, the South African Rugby Union, have taken a deliberate decision to make this sporting code inaccessible to everyone, especially the black people, because we know for sure that in terms of income levels, it is the black people who are at the bottom in majority in terms of income. So how many black people do you know who can afford to pop out 1,000 rand per month just to watch TV? Not so many. And we know that in the other race groups, especially the white people, they have access to that kind of money. They can pay for DSTV premium, and therefore they are able to watch rugby games and also cricket as well. But I'm only focusing on rugby for now. Now look at how this World Cup was broadcast. Only the final game was accessible to the majority of the South Africans, to all of us actually, because it was also on SABC2. All the other games were on DSTV Premium. You know, for a company such as MultiChoice, if they were patriotic enough and they wanted people to enjoy the rugby, they would have made it even accessible to the compact subscribers or even to all the packages, but they did not do that. The game was only accessible, the rugby World Cup was only accessible to premium subscribers. How can such a sport therefore unite everyone when it's only accessible to a certain group of people? And one has to really applaud black people for extending their arm in trying to access the game, because it's not an easy one. It's not easy to access a rugby game in this country. I'm not only talking about the World Cup. Look at our domestic tournament such as the Currie Cup. I mean, a tournament such as that one should at least be on SABC, on the free-to-air channels, if not SABC. It's not. It's only accessible to the premium subscribers, Super Sports 1. It's a local tournament. Super Rugby, not accessible. When the Springboks are playing even simple test matches that are not competitions or tournaments of some sort, they are also not broadcast on SABC on time. They are delayed. If the game plays at 3, it will play live on Super Sports 1, and then later at 5 o'clock it will play on SABC 2. Come on. And we claim to be uniting the nation. How can you unite a nation when others get to watch the game when it's playing live, and then the others watch it through what the SABC call a delayed live? Imagine. That's what we are fed. A national team plays and you only get to watch it after the game has played, when everyone knows the result, when people already know the results. That's only when you get to watch it. I think there's poor management, there's poor leadership at the top, especially from the union, the rugby union, together with the broadcasters, and also our government. Our government should intervene and make sure that this is a sporting code that is accessible to the people. Why am I saying this? It's because if there is any sport in this country right now, in fact for years it's been like that, if there's any sport that can unite South Africans, it is only rugby. Football cannot unite South Africans because football is just a nice game. Our national team does not do well. We can claim to be a football or a soccer nation. We are not, because soccer nations are the ones that qualify for World Cups every 4 years, and they participate. They don't just go add numbers there and then knocked out in the group stages and come back home. They go all the way to the knockout stages, semi-finals and so on. Those are football nations. We are not one of them. Rugby nation, that's what we are. We go in the rugby stage, the world stage, and we compete and we win titles and we bring them home. We are a rugby nation. Why then is this sport only made exclusive to a certain group of people who have a certain income? It's discrimination. It is discrimination. I know it sounds like I'm making silly complaints, but it's a fact. This is a sport that is loved by many, but many cannot watch it. There are many black people who love the sport. I love rugby. I fell in love with this sport. I think it was in 2004, still in high school at the time. I remember watching a guy, I forgot his name, but a black guy scoring something like 5 tries in one game. I fell in love at that moment. It was the Springboks playing against Argentina. Even that game was not broadcast live on SABC. It played first on Super Sports, then we got to watch it later. What kind of nonsense is that? And then this sport is meant to unite us. It will never unite us. It's like alcohol. Right now we are drunk with unity. We are saying unity, this, united behind the Bokke, stronger together. They were running this campaign, stronger together, but the together was for people who are able to watch the sports on Super Sports 1. Because how many of us actually watched the game against New Zealand? We did not watch it. Most of us did not watch it. Those who have DSTV Premium watched it. We could not. Even people who paid DSTV Compact could not watch it. And Compact itself is expensive, but people in that bouquet could not watch the game. In 2007, when we won the World Cup for the second time, I remember watching the semi-finals on SABC 2, and it was a delayed game. What SABC called a delayed live. I don't know if there's such a thing called delayed live. Semi-finals of the Springboks playing in a World Cup, the same World Cup that they won. Those of us without DSTV, only got to watch the game after it had finished, after it had played. Only then did SABC air the game. It's been happening for years. This sport is it's a sport that is treated as only reserved for certain people who can afford. If you can't afford, it's not for you. Schoolboy rugby, when it's broadcast, it's also broadcast on Super Sports 1. I mean, these are schools, are not even professional teams. How do we expect to inspire the young ones, our young kids, to watch, to actually take interest on these sports? We force ourselves to pay to be interested in the game because we love it. But at the same time, the companies and the institutions at the top are making a big effort in securing it for a certain group of people and not for all of us. There is varsity rugby now, together with the likes of varsity football, varsity sport. I mean, you'd expect varsity sport to be, made accessible for various reasons, not just for sports, but also to encourage our young ones to be interested in tertiary education, because they'd watch they'd watch varsity rugby or varsity soccer and feel they'd want to go to these universities so that they can play at that level. Varsity football is accessible through your DSTV complex and so on, but rugby is not. It's still playing on rugby on Super Sports 1, which is a premium channel. We have to fork out about 900 rands or so just to watch games like that. Why is this sports excluded from the main public? And when we can see that it has the potential to actually unite the country more than any other sport, why is it not accessible? It's a sad one. I know some of you may not understand why I'm fuming over this one, but for years I've wondered, why can't we watch the Currie Cup? At least, if they say no, we cannot watch Super Rugby because obviously it's an international competition, because we have other countries involved there as well. I can understand that, but at least give us the local tournament. Make it accessible. Make it accessible to people who are only able to watch SABC or who are only able to watch the free-to-air channels. This exclusivity of rugby, it's actually nonsense. We love the sport. I'm sure people can tell there are many black people who love the sport, but it has to be made accessible to all of us. Unfortunately, right now, the way things are, we can claim to be stronger together and united behind the bokeh, but that will only last for a couple of weeks. It's like a glass of alcohol. It will give you happiness for now to forget about your troubles, but tomorrow you still have to face your troubles. It would be nice after this euphoria for rugby to be made accessible on every broadcasting station, especially the free-to-air ones. It would be very nice for that to happen. That was my view on today's evaluation of Isiphithiphithi. This is a serious matter. If our authorities realize the power of this sport, they will make it accessible. There is no way we are going to transform rugby for as long as it's only accessible to a certain group of people. How do you transform it if it's only accessible to a certain group of people who happen to be of a particular color? You can't transform it. There was a report that came out, I think 2 years ago, where the sports ministry said, or the sports department said, the rugby union has failed to transform the sports. They actually gave them a report and said they failed to transform rugby. White people were angry, up in arms. But they didn't understand that the only way you're going to transform it, make it accessible first, so that you can even inspire that black child somewhere who actually does not like soccer, but they would definitely like rugby if they watch it. But they can't watch it. It's not there. I think I've spoken enough on this matter. That was my view on the evaluation of Isiphithiphithi on today's episode. Well, that is all the time we've had for episode 8. Thank you so much for making time to listen to this episode. Let's meet again in episode 9. Remember, once you have listened, also share with the next person. Click, listen, share. I am Tobegani and I am out.
andinoyiki nonke apha elizweni nganibetha ninye mna.